everybody. Welcome to Live at Epiphan. It's Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, which means we are here live in the Epiphan studio. And in real life, no longer on Skype, we have Marta here from the Palo Alto office.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Marta.
I am very glad to be here. Thank
Well,
you
it's
for
great.
having me.
It's great to finally have you here in the studio. It's definitely a lot easier when we can do this face to face instead of having to do it over Skype. So maybe you can just tell people a little bit about yourself and why you're here this week and what's happening
Right.
with you.
Well, I am from the California Epiphan office, Palo Alto. So I'm visiting Ottawa for a week, and it's been great fun. It's been wonderful, just getting to know everyone, seeing everyone in real life finally.
Yes.
It's been great.
So we work with Marta quite a bit, but because we are in different offices, it's always over the phone or over Skype. So it's nice to finally get a chance to have you here in the office and meet everyone in person.
Yes.
How are things going for you? What's your impression of Ottawa and Canada?
Oh, it's been a blast.
It's your first time in Canada, right?
It is my first time, and I've been getting reviews about Canada, that it's a really nice place and everyone is super nice. And it's true, everyone is super nice. I've been looking for an ulterior motive in everyone's niceness, but I think they're genuinely nice people.
Yeah, we're a friendly bunch.
Yeah. And even the snow is great because it's pretty warm in California, and I grew up in a climate where it's always snowy in the winter, so it's nice to see the snow, to feel the snow. It was great.
You can please take it with you when you leave. I'd be okay with that. If you want to come shovel our driveways, we can let you do that as well.
I can take up to 64 kilograms, I think, onto my plane.
Okay.
Onto the luggage, I just can't take more.
Okay,
I would,
perfect.
Dan, I would, but I can't.
Yeah, it'll probably be melted by the time you get back, but
Yeah.
if you
Perhaps.
pack a couple snowballs in like a cooler or something, maybe you can snowball someone when you get back.
That'd be weird. Pretty cool.
So anyhow, thanks everybody for joining us today. Also, just wanted to give a quick thank you to, this is our first live show since we were at ISE in Amsterdam last week. And just wanted to say thanks to everybody who stopped by the Epiphan booth. It was really great interacting with all of you and to meet some of you in person and put a name to the face. I mean, we see you in chat on YouTube and Facebook, but it's nice to actually meet in person. So that was great. And just meeting with all of our partners and all of our European distributors, it was really great to interact and chat with all of you and share the excitement that we have. So we're looking forward to the next time we see you. We'll be at ISE next year, but we'll also have some other shows coming up later this year, which we'll be talking about soon enough. So with that said, why don't we jump into our topic for this week? So I read the title, and we've got it back there. All the biggest live streams.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting topic. So I see it looks like an astronaut on the thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we can talk a little bit about I know you've been doing some research about the biggest live streams of all time and gathering some data and some interesting facts. So maybe you can tell me a bit about what the topic is this week and why we wanted to talk about it.
Right. So we're talking about the biggest live streams. We're going to be talking about how live streams go viral, why a lot of people watch them, and how that whole thing happens. So when I was researching this thing, I obviously used Google. And
it's a good starting point for any research.
Yes, I used a search engine.
Okay.
A search engine, and I was trying to look for all-time largest streams, right? And when I would type that in, live streaming, most viewers, I would mostly get TV hits. So like TV broadcasting, because Wikipedia pages would list all the things that are really popular on TV. So I was actually having a hard time coming up with live streams online, YouTube, Facebook right away. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, I think probably a lot of that goes back to just like the fact that broadcast television, there's much more maturity there in terms of the data gathering and in terms of how popularity of television broadcast is measured, right?
Right.
So like I remember hearing about like the Nielsen rating system, right?
They have
and I think you encountered
agencies.
a little bit of that.
Yeah. So like for the first moonwalk back in 1969, about 500 million people saw that.
Holy smoke, that's way more than I would have thought for
right?
that time. 500 million people.
But that was huge.
Yeah.
That was the thing that everyone was talking about.
And I mean, to some extent, things haven't changed that much. Last week we just had a rocket launch, a space-related event that happened.
We're going to be talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later in the show. But it's interesting that these sort of events can bring massive amounts of people together and really unify people from all over the world for a single event and to participate in that live in some way.
Right. It's a huge event. It's always interesting to be there and see it live. When you hear about it afterwards, you kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, a thing happened. But when you're there, when you're in the moment, I think it makes it much more special.
I would totally agree with that. And I would say it also makes you feel like you're a part of it.
Right.
And we talk about that a lot on this show of why people want to live stream and some of the benefits of live streaming and participating in a live stream. And I think it comes back to, in many cases, being able to engage with the content beyond just passively consuming it. So it's watching, for example, an Apple keynote product launch and being able to tweet about it live and being able to not only consume the content, but you're sharing it live. And when something is live, you have the ability to sort of break the news yourself.
Right.
Because you're the first to see it. You're tied for first with everybody else.
It's very exciting.
It's very exciting when that happens. So just before we get into it a little bit deeper, I do want to remind everyone, of course we are live. We're monitoring chat here on YouTube and Facebook. So please don't hesitate to come and say hello. If you have any points that you'd like to contribute to the conversation, throw them in chat and we'll be happy to read them out here as well. So, okay, you were diving into the statistics. You were finding it difficult to find information about live streaming over the internet.
Right.
You're finding more information about sort of broadcast television days of yore.
Yeah.
But you were able to find some data and some statistics. So maybe you can tell me a little bit more about where your research took you.
Right. So I was trying to see like the obvious things, YouTube, Facebook. I was trying to see what is the video with the most views. That's what I was going for. I was formulating my searches. Live. Yes, of course. And what I found was that while the number of views is important, of course, that's not the only metric that is out there. So it's also important to see, or actually I was able to find the results for peak concurrent viewers, for example.
Concurrent,
yes.
Now
viewers.
I've heard this term thrown around, concurrent live viewers.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it means how many people were watching the stream while it was live at the same time.
Okay.
So, for example, the video could be done. The live video could be over, and it's now on demand.
Okay.
And so we're interested in how many people were viewing when it was actually live.
So, for instance, I see right now on our YouTube that we have 13 watching now. So does that mean that we have 13 concurrent viewers on YouTube?
Exactly, Dan. We have 13 concurrent viewers on YouTube right now.
Okay, very neat.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that was, it came up often. And the other thing is total live watch hours, which means some people can be tuning in for like a second, and some people could be watching for 10 minutes. And if you sum up all of those minutes and seconds, you get the total hours that this live stream was watched. And it's important to have, it's better to have more hours, I suppose, because if you're scrolling through your Facebook feed, for example, and the video just comes up, that might count as a view. But I know on Facebook it's actually 3 seconds, so you have to watch 3 seconds of video for it to be a view.
So if you just scroll past quickly, it's not going to count that.
Yeah, it's not going to count. Right. While on YouTube, if you just open the thing, that already counts as a view.
Got it.
Yeah.
So a view is not necessarily measured the same way. And it's interesting, like even if we were to look at TV viewership numbers, I mean, how accurate can those really be? I was always wondering, even if they can tell using my digital receiver that I'm tuned into this channel live, maybe I'm watching the Olympics or something, it's happening right now, they don't know how many people are in my living room watching it with me. I could have 10 other people on the couch.
Could be a party.
Right? So I'm sure they use some like advanced algorithms and some more refined estimations based on, all kinds of data that they've collected over the many years that they've been doing those projections. So,
right. So it's important to keep that in mind as well when you're thinking about how popular your stream is, how viral it is. And also, there's this I don't know if it's a problem, but restreams and like fake live streams.
Okay.
We see a lot of those right now, especially
Okay.
after the SpaceX launch, I think.
Interesting. So, fake live streams. Can you, for people who don't know, can you explain that a
So
little
fake
bit?
live streams are kind of, I feel, one of the two things. The first thing you can do is you can just upload a video with a little live icon on the bottom,
Okay.
right? And people would think, oh, maybe that's live, but not really, it's an upload. Or you can restream something that was live a while ago. So you're streaming it live from a device.
So it is a live stream of data,
yeah.
but it's a pre-recorded
It's
video.
a pre-recorded video. So
Got it.
yes, and I guess these people are trying to use this hype that was around it to get views.
Well, we talk about that all the time, is that like the YouTube and the Facebook algorithms give preferential treatment to live content in many cases. So I can understand why people would perhaps try to take advantage of that by using fake live, if you will.
Right.
So let's talk about some of the biggest live streams. I mean, in our thumbnail we have, I think that's Felix Baumgartner.
Indeed.
And do we want to talk about him right off the top, or how should we?
Yeah, let's talk about him.
Let's talk about Felix Baumgartner, because this is, for me, I think probably my first memory of watching something live on YouTube was this Red Bull Stratus jump from way back in, I think this was like 2012.
Yeah, October 2012.
And if I recall, I got home from work and I had a few roommates in the house, and someone had heard about this, so we opened YouTube, and I had never seen a live stream on YouTube before. I think at that point in time, I didn't even know YouTube could live stream. So just seeing something live on YouTube was impressive enough. But then when you see the countdown and you see what's about to happen, I was glued to the screen, and so I think there was like four. I had like 4 roommates at the time. We were all glued to the screen, wanting to see what would happen here. And I think I wasn't the only one, because this was a very popular live stream, wasn't it?
I remember watching it as well. It was very exciting. Actually, maybe we can get our viewers to guess how many concurrent viewers do you think this video got? If you have a chance to leave a comment for us, you can go ahead and do that. But I can tell you that it was the most YouTube concurrent viewers. It was the record.
Really?
It's still the record.
So this is like, we're talking almost 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
And this is still the highest number of concurrent live viewers on YouTube. That's impressive.
It is impressive.
Now, why? Why has nothing topped this yet?
Well, I guess when I was watching it and I saw him just like that moment before he jumps out, and when he does jump out, that's it. Like he's falling, and we want to know what happens, and there's no way of knowing what's going to happen, because it's happening as you're watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely appeal to live content where the outcome is not guaranteed. We talk about sports for being a great example. Obviously, you don't know who's going to win, but something like this, where it's like you see him going into the spin, and I remember watching this and wondering, what am I watching? Is his parachute going to open? Right. And there's definitely an excitement to that, and it's enough to keep you, on the edge of your seat, and also feel like you're experiencing it in real time with everybody else who's watching it. It's like the fact that more people are viewing it and tweeting about it, and there's like the social fabric of our society is engaged in a single moment in the same event. It's very exciting to participate in that way.
Right. It's historic. It's never happened before. No one has ever done this before, and you get to see it live with everyone else.
Very, very cool. Okay, so the Red Bull Stratus jump, Felix Baumgartner, and how many concurrent do we have about the numbers of what that were? Has anybody? Let me just see if anybody has guessed.
We can reveal it a bit later.
Someone has responded. I don't speak Spanish, so I'm going to translate that in a moment. Jordeo. Someone's guessing 1 million concurrent.
Okay, all right. That's
on
a
YouTube,
pretty good guess.
Someone else is guessing 2 million. What?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you that it's also up there in the records with the most live viewers. So not necessarily concurrent, but like most live viewers. The most concurrent. So the concurrent viewers for this particular video was 8 million.
8 million concurrent.
8 million people were watching at the same time.
And that's just YouTube, right?
Yeah, that is just YouTube.
Very interesting. So that's a pretty good viewership number. We're still not on Moonwalk level, right?
Yeah.
But when you consider that this is all over YouTube, which is a free platform that, you know, for many parts of the world don't have access to internet or anything like that, like it's still pretty impressive amount of eyeballs on the same thing at the same time.
It really is.
So why don't we continue on, and maybe you can tell us some of the other big live streams that you looked at.
Right. So another big one, probably one of the most famous ones, something that you think about right away, is the Prince William and Kate Middleton wedding way back in April of 2011.
Okay.
Which got 72 million viewers while it was live. And that was back in 2011, and it is still the record holder from what I can gather.
So 72 million, that's got to be like a pretty significant record of viewership.
Yeah, it is. No one has been able to break it. So this is one platform, this is YouTube. And so far, that is the record. I mean, it was spanned over maybe like 6 hours, I want to say. I can't quite remember.
Yeah.
It was a very long stream.
It is a long event, right?
Yes, it was a long event.
So maybe the concurrent isn't as high, right? Because those views are spread out over a much longer period of time. People might jump in for parts of the ceremony or parts of the
most exciting
the
ones,
wedding,
right?
and then leave. They've gotten their taste and they leave, right?
They saw the dress.
Yeah.
They're satisfied.
Yeah. Now with something like this, I mean, obviously this goes beyond just like a national appeal. This is obviously for the United Kingdom, a very big event, but there's a worldwide interest in something like this, right? And what's interesting to me is like this was not just streamed online. Obviously, it was streamed online, but you could have watched this on television as well, right? So it's impressive that as many people watched online and chose that as their content network,
right?
Over some other options they might have had, right? You could have flipped to your local television station and probably seen this.
I remember watching this in the office, and I actually remember having it in the little screen on like on the right part of my huge monitor, and I could actually like work and I can do something else.
Okay, yeah.
While kind of looking at the most interesting parts.
I mean, that's a good point. Is when an event like this happens, a lot of people might just have this on in the background while they're doing something else.
They were there, they saw it, they can then boast seeing the whole thing.
They can remember having been a part of a major event that happened, like a worldwide event.
And I also got some statistics that it was actually watched in 288 countries on YouTube. Wow. And I heard that YouTube was actually prepared for much more viewers than they had. So they had the platform prepared because, I mean, 72 million viewers, that's a lot of bandwidth.
Yes. So, on the same on the same stream.
On the same stream.
So they need to do some, when YouTube anticipates views concurrently into the millions, they do some preparation to make sure that the platform can scale to that.
Exactly.
Interesting. So what were they prepared for? Did it say?
There was a number.
I think they were like ready for hundreds of millions.
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
It was in the hundreds of millions.
They got 72 million. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But they were prepared for more.
Okay, so we've got the Felix Baumgartner jump.
Yeah.
We've got the royal wedding. What else? What else?
So another huge one was Obama's inauguration in 2009.
Yeah, this was a big one, and I think this probably would have been the first major inauguration of the, let's call it the online video era, right?
Yeah.
So that's certainly a big one. Donald Trump might not agree, but I mean, I think I remember tuning into this, and it's something that typically people might have in the past watched on their cable network.
Yeah.
But now having the option to watch it online, it brought in even more people who maybe were at their desk at work able to watch this, instead of catching a replay later on.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
And I hear the numbers were 70 million for that particular stream.
Okay, that's still very significant then. Amazing.
Yeah.
What else have we got, Marta? So you were looking at YouTube most live viewers, but you also looked at concurrent. So there was the Felix Baumgartner space dive. What else was another big viewer number for concurrent viewers.
So from what I could tell, their silver medal goes to the SpaceX Falcon Heavy launch.
Okay, and that was just
that
was like last week,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Now, I know here in the Epiphan office, so while we were away in Amsterdam, there was an email circulating that, a bunch of people here in the office were planning on watching this. We've got like a nice big screen in our boardroom, and everybody gathered around to sort of watch this live. And it's very exciting when you see something like this because, again, you don't know what's going to happen. The rocket could explode, and, that would be one story, but at the other side, it could be a huge success. So there's, it's interesting to watch and see what the outcome might be.
Yeah, we were watching from the California office, and we had the Ottawa office on call, and it was really exciting to be discussing everything on the fly. It was great.
Now, I think what might make this successful from a concurrent viewer's perspective is that you've got kind of like a very precise time period of when all of this is happening. Like there's a countdown to launch, right? So if you tune in, maybe you're at your desk doing some other work and you just want to check out a little bit, you can see exactly when the rocket is going to take off. So I've got to imagine that the concurrent viewers peaks right at the launch time and then probably slowly dwindles off over time.
Yeah, I would expect that as well. Yeah.
So that's very cool. So again, seems like the outer space events.
Hey, go to space.
These are big steps for humanity. So very interesting that they always draw a huge viewer number.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that's successful here is the ability for SpaceX to market this event in advance, right?
Yeah, everyone knew, like a lot of people knew about it. They were ready. The hype was up.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just about, I mean, it'd be one thing if you just went live and people slowly materialize on the stream, but I mean, definitely in our experience, the more you can promote the event in advance, the higher those viewership numbers will be.
Yeah, I think we can say the same about the Felix Baumgartner dive. Same thing. That was all over the place. I was all over my Facebook feed for sure, way in advance.
Okay. What's the next one? Concurrent viewers.
So the next one, we got 2 million concurrent viewers for the Trump-Clinton debate in 2016.
Again, this is a stream that you could have streamed, or you could have probably watched on television. A lot of people streamed it, though.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting with something like this is that, we talk about this on the show all the time, is live interaction. So people want to share their opinions. They want to be able to interact with one another. What better format than a live debate?
Right.
Exactly. And it certainly didn't disappoint in terms of, entertainment value in many ways. But it's interesting that I'm sure this is not the last televised debate we'll see that has a huge viewership. And this is not something new either. If you look back into the television history era, you have like the Nixon-Kennedy debates that, shaped the outcome of the political sphere during that time, and I don't think this is anything that's going to change soon. These type of formats lend themselves to live streaming, certainly, and to the interactive sort of viewership, right?
Right.
Tweeting about it,
yeah,
sharing your opinion.
Right. We're going to be talking about this a bit later. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but there was a video on Facebook that's popular on Facebook. We'll get to it, the 2020 presidential election countdown. And I think, the video is not something huge. It's just a countdown.
Okay, I think I have it here.
Yeah, Dan will show it. But it was a great platform for people to just have a discussion live. So it wasn't, it was, it was a gag.
Right now,
it was a gag, but the discussion there on the right was just crazy. It was just, it's a great discussion platform.
So we couldn't show, I think I've got it loaded here now. So this is not live anymore, but this was, I think, BuzzFeed just had a countdown timer live.
Right
So very
after
simple,
the election.
Nothing fancy about this, but it creates a conversation, right?
It does.
And it is live, so Facebook, the algorithm, this is going to be promoted. So very interesting strategy by BuzzFeed there.
Mm-hmm. So perhaps we can talk about the Facebook videos now.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the YouTube platform, but Facebook obviously very popular for live streaming as well. And I think you were telling me something about how Facebook Live is now starting to eclipse YouTube.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell me about your research there.
So what happened there? Facebook started doing live videos, And to get more people to participate in it, they had an incentive. So they actually paid a lot of celebrities and publishers and influencers to use the platform to make live videos, which is how Facebook was able to kind of top YouTube almost. I hear in 2017 it was by 1%.
Just a
more,
little bit.
Yeah. So more percentage-wise, more videos were live rather than on demand.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so live content on Facebook is
Took
doing quite well.
Yeah.
Interesting. What do you think the reason for that is?
They paid the people.
Yeah.
I feel it is because Facebook had a very good marketing strategy. They got the right people to do it, so they got the influencers
Celebrities,
to participate.
getting
Yeah.
brands and major brands and celebrities to
Right.
participate.
If you get the right people to tweet about it, to Facebook about it, I think you can get a lot of people on board.
We saw recently, we talked about it on the show, but there was like the Neil Young hometown live stream, and that was like exclusively on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So I think they've been pretty successful in being able to create those partnerships that draw in viewers for major live stream events.
Right. I think exclusivity is a big part of it. So you can only see it on Facebook, so you're going to go and see it on Facebook.
Yeah. People want to go to where the content is.
Right.
So let's talk about some of the big Facebook videos.
Right.
You were showing me this one. I'd actually never seen this before, but this is like, what is this? Chewbacca Mom?
It's called Chewbacca Mom.
Okay.
So the premise of this video is that a woman buys a mask, like an actual mask that you put on your face. It's a Chewbacca mask. And she starts using it. So as she speaks, Chewbacca opens his mouth and kind of makes the Chewbacca sounds
Okay.
that Chewbacca makes. You can hear it for yourself.
So did she just like live stream this from her phone or something?
I think so. I think she did.
Incredible. But then it's been shared like 3.4 million times, which is how it got
It's crazy.
all of those views, right?
Yes, sharing
So
is
truly
important.
viral live streamed content.
Yeah, but this isn't to say that. So the statistics right now is 164 million views, but that is not while the video was live. It's really hard to get those statistics.
Well, sure. I mean, if she was just live streaming this on her phone, at first it would just be to her
Like 10
own
people,
personal
right? Yeah,
network.
yeah.
So maybe she would have like 10 or 15 people watching it live, but by the time it gets shared 1, 2, 3,000 times, all of a sudden that network expands.
Exactly.
But by the time those people are seeing it, it's not live anymore. So
But it's viral.
it is a live stream that has gone viral on demand.
Yeah, very interesting combination, I think.
Sure. So
Yeah.
what else has been popular on
So the other
Facebook?
one at 85 million is the Ted Yoder hammered dulcimer.
Okay.
And I have never heard of this video, and I've never seen this video, but I found that this is the one. This is for 2016. The statistics for 2017
Cool.
are not quite out yet. But this guy, took his favorite instrument and he made a cover.
And I don't think I'll play the audio right now because I've got it on my laptop speakers, but he's just a talented musician playing a well-known song,
Yeah.
right? But again, it's the shares that sort of pumps it into the stratosphere of, popular content, right?
And I feel like you never know which content will make it. I feel there's a bit of chance there. The Chewbacca mask.
It doesn't make any sense why that's the
Makes
most
no
viewed
sense.
video ever on Facebook,
It makes
right?
no sense, but it's true.
Okay.
And so the third one that we were talking about already is the countdown.
The countdown,
The
okay.
2020 presidential
Wow,
countdown.
55 million views for a clock counting down.
Yes.
It's more of a conversation than a video,
It is,
right?
indeed. There was a similar video about people moving to Canada. So there was a countdown right after the election that was showing Canada's population versus USA population. And the premise was the USA population was decreasing while the Canada population was going up. But, it's a conversation starter.
Yes, and, it's interesting to see how the fact that it's live can be used as a tool to, not necessarily the content of the video, but the conversation and the interaction is what is really the draw for the content. So that's really interesting. So if we were going to sort of summarize in looking at all of this, what can we what can we learn from looking at these top videos and these top live streams? Is this how are we going to make the Live at Epiphan show
Right.
get to 55 million concurrent?
We can definitely go to space.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
we've sort of done that. We have a device that's been to space.
That is true. We do have a, I think it's a DVI to USB on board the International Space Station.
I think so.
So if we get our live stream up to outer space, that would help.
Yes, that would definitely help.
Okay.
Another related thing is do something really crazy, like go to space and then jump out of a thing.
Something where the outcome is not certain and people want
Right.
to see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Now, we had something similar that we tried a little while back, which was our George versus George
That was
competition.
really exciting. I watched
right?
that.
So that creates some excitement. And I mean, I think people can build that into their content, certainly, is to have, when you have live content, if you can create content where there's an outcome that people want to see and it's uncertain what the outcome will be, that's attractive as a piece of live content.
Right.
So what else did we learn?
So another thing is you can engage in political debate and then stream that. Become president. That always seems to be popular.
Certainly, people love to share their opinions, so when you give them the opportunity to do that, you've got the makings of a hit.
Yeah, create a platform where people can share their opinions.
What else?
So another thing is play online games really well.
Okay, and actually, BBI Productions in chat was just asking about that. Twitch. And I think we had looked at Twitch a little bit, so maybe maybe now would be a good time to just sort of mention what's happening with Twitch and sort of live viewership as well. Now, Twitch is a bit unique because, of course, it's focused on gaming, so there's sort of a built-in following for some of these games. But you were showing me the numbers, and the numbers are pretty crazy. So tell us what you learned.
So here's what I learned. The top peak concurrent viewers right now on Twitch is for a game called League of Legends.
Okay.
For the 2017 final. Well, actually, all our record-breaking numbers are for League of Legends. That seems to be the most popular game right now. So these tournaments, they create a lot of hype.
So I have a clip here actually from Twitch, and this was the 2017 League of Legends finals, and you can watch it as a replay here, but how many people tuned in live to watch this final match?
So 106 million. 106 million.
Holy smokes!
Tuned in.
So 106. Is that peak concurrent?
Yeah, that's peak concurrent. So 106 million people at the same time were watching this.
So more concurrent viewers watching the League of Legends final than the Royal Wedding.
Yes.
That's saying something.
And the interesting statistic is that over 95% of people are from China
Very interesting.
who were watching that.
So certainly if you can tap into the Chinese audience, there's a massive number of people there who, if you can create content that's valuable to them, that's huge. And I think there was also like the some other major tournaments that were broadcast on Twitch recently. I think there was like a CSGO tournament last month that got tens of millions of concurrent viewers. So the numbers on Twitch are insane, and the really only growing at this point.
Right.
So you see some of these tournaments are getting massive engagement.
There was another interesting statistic, Dan, and it was the total hours watched. And it was over 4 billion. It was over 4 billion hours for this specific 2017 tournament, which I think is just it's crazy.
I mean, that's absolutely incredible. So I think we're going to continue to see the Twitch platform certainly with those kind of numbers growing, and what do you think it is that brings people together for those? How do you get 100 million people to watch something at the same time?
That's a
And
very
why
good question.
is it the video games that do that?
Well, I guess right now video games are just so popular, and it's a sport. It's an esport. It's not just
So again, an outcome that is uncertain.
Right. But also a lot of people can potentially participate in the sport. So you have little kids watching who aspire to be these players.
So there's a wide demographic of people who want to watch
this.
Also, we talked about promotion. These tournaments are absolutely, there's major sponsors, there's major promotion, and you've got sort of a built-in audience of people who follow these games and who have these games marketed to them.
Exactly.
Who, if there's a singular event, a championship final, it's like the Super Bowl, right?
You can think of these events as like a series, so it's not just one event, but I think you're building up your audience from one event to the next.
That's a good point as well, because that was the final, but there's obviously preliminaries, and people follow their teams and their favorite players, and there's a story there that builds and culminates.
Exactly.
Very cool. So we covered YouTube, Facebook, a little bit of Twitch. We talked about some of the things that can cause your live stream to go viral. Is there anything else that we missed? You talked about going to space, esports, and also just streaming something fun and interesting on Facebook and getting those shares, right?
Right.
The shares is what really expands not for live, but for the video on demand afterwards.
I also feel that everyone likes animals, so you can always stream a story about animals. There was a really kind of big one about April the giraffe and her baby. So that was like a whole series. And I think the numbers were huge on that. It was about 140 million, I want to say, total. But it's not for one single stream. It's like for the whole series.
Got it. Okay.
So, film animals. You can get a lot of views like that.
Very cool. So, what should we be watching for in the near future? What events are coming up? What do you think is going to be the biggest live streams for 2018?
Right, so in 2018, we have another royal wedding coming up.
Okay.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Do you think that will be bigger than the previous record?
Just because the technology, more people have technology, I think it will be bigger.
More people watching on their mobile devices?
Yes, I think we'll take the numbers just by devices.
Okay.
Just having more devices collectively.
Very interesting. So we'll see that. What else is happening?
So we also there's a lot of crazy athletic events that are happening. And I'm not only talking about the Olympics, I'm talking about the Red Bull events.
Okay, cool. So the Red Bull events are always pretty extreme, pretty popular. You've got motocross, rallycross, the crashed ice is another big one. And they really do a great job of producing these for an online live audience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you can, there's a page on the Red Bull website that's going to be in the description that you can go to and see which awesome live events are coming up that Red Bull is going to stream.
Very cool. And I think you had one more that you wanted to touch on.
Yes, it turns out there's a page that you can look at to see which rocket launches are coming up.
Okay, so more outer space stuff. If you want to keep up on when the next launches are happening, spaceflightnow.com has a launch schedule.
Indeed, I was surprised to find out. A lot of people like rockets. They're just really cool.
Awesome. So lots to watch for in 2018. We've learned a lot here, and thank you so much for all of your research today, Marta. It's been great chatting with you, and thanks for sharing all of that.
It's been great being here. Thank you so much for having me here.
Fantastic. Well, and thank all of you for joining us here today on Live at Epiphan. Of course, if you have any questions for us, you can always meet us on the forum. We have a lot of discussion going on there. It's a great place to interact, to talk about Epiphan products. We're sort of showing off the Pearl 2 here today. It is our flagship, and it is what powers this show and does a great job of powering this show. We're now streaming to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch simultaneously, and Pearl 2 isn't even breaking a sweat doing that. So it's been great for us. As for all of you, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week, Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Until then, I'm Dan.
I'm Marta.
So long.